It's about the end of July and this garden is on fire. Let's take a look at it. Hey folks, welcome back to the Rocking C Homestead. My name is Lance. I want to welcome you back to our channel, and this is going to be our July garden tour. Like I was saying, the garden is on fire. Things are going crazy. We're harvesting as quickly as we can and trying to preserve as much as we can. But let me tell you, it is hard to keep up with it all. So we're up here in the herb garden, and some things are looking really, really good, and some things are kind of struggling a little bit. The sage is looking okay. We have a ton of grasshoppers down here, and these guys are, I think that those guys are putting a little bit of pressure on it, but other than that, it looks really, really good. We've preserved a ton of this. We have another bed ready to go in. We just have to have enough time to make that happen. Hopefully here pretty soon we're gonna put that in there to kind of finish out the herb bed. But as we're kind of going through here, you'll see some things are kind of taking over certain areas. Like we got to cut back some of these chives here, but this is I think it's onion chives, and we have garlic chives. The onion chives is just massive, so we're going to cut that way back, dehydrate some of that stuff. And our dill right here, it has bolted on us, so we're just kind of letting it seed out and seeing how that turns out. This first year growing dill, so not for sure exactly how that's going to work out there now since it's flowering, but it's really pretty. And the butterflies and the bees and all that kind of stuff. Love it. And this is Butternut. I think that's how that's pronounced. So it's like almost like a parsley type of plant, but it tastes like a cucumber when you put it in a salad and eat it. And it looks like it's just about to bolt as well. So it is, it's come along really good. This is a new plant for us this year, so we'll see how that looks, and we'll kind of see what goes on with it. Now, if you come over here, our basil is going crazy. It is loving this weather we're having here in Oklahoma. It's been hot and dry, and it is absolutely loving it. We probably harvest this twice a week, and you can still see that it's just going crazy. So this is a African blue basil, and this is just regular like sweet basil. And these things are going crazy. I mean, we've dried it. I mean, Marcy has a huge rack in the back of the house that has this stuff in it, drying it out. We've made pesto and froze it, but it's loving this garden life right now. Let me tell you, it is going crazy. Same thing can be said about the mint here. So this whole section is chocolate mint. So if you guys have any good suggestions on what to do with chocolate mint, we have dried it, we have dehydrated it. Let us know what else we can do with it, because we have an abundance of chocolate mint. And of course, the lemon balm mint is going crazy. And then we had to actually pull the spearmint plant that was right here, and we put a new one down. And after a rough start, it is coming on strong itself. So the spearmint's looking good, the lemon balm's looking good. Of course, the chocolate mint is just trying to take over. It's actually trying to escape down here on the other side of the bed. It's trying to move on. But that's our herb garden. And like I said, Marcy comes out here and at least harvests this thing 2 or 3 times a week. And it's just crazy to keep up with. And now Megan and Marcy wanted a little bit of color. Plus we wanted to attract some pollinators around here. So they took this one bed and they created it. They got different flowers. I don't know what all the different flowers are, but I do know this one is called bat face or something similar to that, because the flowers look like a little face of a bat. All different kinds of flowers, and it has attracted some pollinators here. We see bees and butterflies and all different ones over here, and this is kind of right in between our two gardens, so they really do like it, and it adds color and it's pretty, and that's always a good thing. Now, we're over here in our little bay plant, and unfortunately we had an accident last weekend. I was trying to clean up this garden, this edge of this garden, weed eating, and I was weed eating in it, and the weed eater kind of caught the fence and kind of came over and clipped the whole top of this bay plant. This bay plant was like this tall. Yes, I almost killed it. But it doesn't look like it killed it all the way. It looks like there's some new stuff growing on it. So we're hoping it will come back. We're letting it just be and see what happens with it. It happens, man. It happens. So now we're over here in our raised bed garden. As you can tell, these are going to be the tomatoes. And as you can see, the tomatoes are going absolutely insanely crazy. They're loving it right here. It looks like we got to pick some tomatoes today. You know, a lot of the cherry tomatoes we leave on there until they're pretty ripe. But on some of the bigger tomatoes, we were finding out that they take such a longer time to ripen. A lot of them were getting taken by bugs or insects or those kind of things. So as soon as they start blushing, like there's one right there, today we're gonna pull that, take it inside, and let it ripen inside. It's not gonna change the flavor. Once they start blushing, you have that great flavor that you want in a tomato. But as you can see, these things are coming up and over. I actually have to do a little bit of work, especially on this bed here. This thing is, let's see if I can get these things to push back. We'll see if that works out. But at this point, they're all kind of meeting up and over in the middle. And even on this side, it's going absolutely insane. So I don't know if you guys remember or not, but in this bed, not only did we have the tomatoes, we actually planted corn, and we actually harvested the corn, pulled it out, and I think we got about 20 heads of corn on everything. Not everything pollinated, so it wasn't 100%, but for the ones that did turned out really, really good. For our first time growing corn, we were super stoked and super excited about the corn. It was almost kind of silly how excited we were over it, but it was a good experience. We learned some things, and probably going to be growing it again. All right, so we're over here in our second set of raised beds, and on this one here we have a couple tomato plants. My parents gave us some 3 tomato plants. There was all supposed to be ox hearts, and if you haven't ever grew those, the tomatoes actually kind of look like a heart shape fruit, and that's where they get their name. And they're real meaty and fleshy, really good for canning and paste making and those kind of things. So, but unfortunately, it looks like one of them wasn't an ox heart. It was something else. Not for sure what it is. It's still a great tomato plant. It's growing like crazy. It's producing. At this point, just waiting for those green tomatoes to turn a little bit of blushy, and then we can get them pulled. But inside the other part of the bed, we do have some cucumbers. We had planted this thing all with cucumbers besides the 2 tomato plants, but roly-poly bugs just decimated the little seedlings, and only a couple of them came back in. We kind of regrew, replanted a couple of them, and they're just now coming in. So, but we haven't got any cucumbers, but we do have some that are about this big. So hopefully here in the next week, we're gonna have a whole bunch of cucumbers, because not only do we have a couple here, on our next bed over here, we have a whole row of cucumbers. And these things are trellising up and just going crazy. Oh, here's the one right here. That's a picking size right there now. All right, so as you can see, we have cucumbers. It looks like we need to start looking a little bit closer in those things and start picking some of those so we can start making some pickles. And these are pickling cucumbers. Now on the other side of this jungle, the massive jungle here. So we have cucumbers on this side going up this trellis. And we had planted some butternut squash, and as you can see, we actually have several of those blooming in this, and these things are so cute. We actually posted something on our Facebook page about that today, I do believe. So those are going to be butternut squash. That's kind of a winter squash. You know, we call it winter squash. That's just because these preserve and you can store them until winter, but they're grown during the summertime. So we have so butternut squash here, and then we have some acorn squash in here somewhere. There's some acorn squash. Looks a little different. I'm just trying to see if there's any growing. I've seen some. But this thing is such a jungle, and they may need to come in here and clean it out. But it is definitely growing out of control. We had to put up a little trellis here just because we didn't think that that these things were like what the cucumbers did, kind of vined out, but they did. So they were all over the ground. So we had to come in here, put this up last weekend, and it's worked out really well. And they seem to really like it. This guy is traveling all the way from over here, all the way from the other side of the bed here. So it's definitely working out. All right, so we're over here in our last set of beds. This is where our lettuce and spinach was. All of that stuff bolted. We had to pull it up, composted, gave some to the animals. They loved it. Not for sure. We may plant another round of zucchini in here because we're having a little bit of trouble, and we'll see that here in a little bit on our other bed. But we got a little lavender plant over here and another pollinator. Not for sure what that is, but it's just a little pollinator plant. It attracts the pollinators to it, so it's pretty whatever it is. Now, unfortunately, we've been battling squash bugs and all kinds of stuff over here in our squash and zucchini. Now, we've got quite a bit of it, but unfortunately, it's just not as good as what it should have been. You know, trying to get them growing up the post didn't quite work out like we had wanted to. You know, it's one of those things where you would have to keep up with it every single day, and we just didn't do that. And we kind of missed a couple days, and now it's just kind of out of control. But we have found some. Oh, there's another big one right in here we need to get. With the big zucchini right here. But we have trimmed them up, kept them as clean as we can. And we're just trying to keep out the bugs. Like I said, we can't keep up with the bugs and everything else that's kind of attacking these plants. So I think at some point here in the near future, we're going to probably rip this up once those things come in and have another batch as we go further along in the summer into fall. But we have got some, just not as much as we'd wanted, but it's just hard to keep up with those dang squash bugs. So we're over here in our row of peppers, and let me tell you, the peppers are loving these self-wicking tubs. I mean, these things are growing crazy. We have harvested so many peppers this year. Probably after our first harvest, we harvested more peppers than we did all of last year. And we've probably harvested 3 times since then. I bet we've probably got 40 pounds of bell peppers, probably about 30 pounds of like banana peppers, and the nanapinos or the jalapenos. I can't remember. I don't think we weighed those, but there's a ton of them on here. Like I said, they are loving these beds. But just as you guys can see here, this is kind of a hodgepodge of different peppers. So we have some bell peppers. You can see this one's turning a little bit of orange there. It's really gorgeous. We had some banana peppers over here. Now, unfortunately, I did kill one plant that was right here. It was the Chocolate Beauty. But everything else, these plants are going awesome. I think there's another one. It's like an orange one. They're kind of a longer bell pepper. Very tasty. These things are just going awesome, and they're loving this setup. Like I was saying before, this is our jalapeno or nanapiño. So these are non-hot jalapenos. And you can just tell they're just covered in peppers. And these are super tasty. They have the flavor of a jalapeno, but not really all that hot. So we've made, you know, those little pepper poppers. We've made salsa. We've made some pepper jelly, all kinds of stuff trying to preserve these things. And there's tons of blooms on it, so that's even better. And then some more bell peppers over here. These are the ones that we actually grew from seedlings. And you can see these things are coming on here. And just full of peppers. Sometimes it's even hard to even see the peppers because they match the plant so well. But those things are going good. Now the banana pepper plants, as you can tell, these things are everywhere. I'll probably harvest this twice a week, and probably here in a couple days, some of these are going to be ready to pick. These things go pretty quick. Some turn a little orange. But we have pickled these. We've actually made banana pepper poppers as well. But I tell you, these things are going awesome. And I love these things on salads and those kind of things. So we've pickled 2 or 3 batches of them. They've been awesome so far. And then our last pepper plants over here. These are just bell peppers, all of them. And these guys have produced like crazy, and they're still producing like crazy. Oh, there's a big one right there. Look at that one. A couple big ones right in there. Like I said, it's kind of hard to see the bell peppers. You kind of have to manipulate the plants more than you'd think you need to just to see them. But there is a ton of them in here. Well, folks, that is our garden tour here for July 2020. Everything's going really, really good. It's just trying to keep up with it at this point. I think we're going to do a couple videos specifically on our tomatoes and our peppers. If you guys want to see any other videos, let us know. Leave some comments down below. Hey, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel, it'd be a great time to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell so you don't get left out on any notifications that come out saying we have a new video. But again, from our homestead to yours, have a blessed day, keep growing, and we'll catch you on the next video.